How important is this to get Uber resolved today?
I sure hope we can get it resolved today. There's been a lot of misinformation out there, and I have to say that Uber hasn't really been very good about sharing the whole story. Here's the deal. Nobody is allowed to drive without insurance. I'm not allowed to do it, you're not allowed to do it, Uber drivers are not allowed to do it. Uber has known they've got an insurance problem for many, many, many months. They're working on it. There is a product that is awaiting approval before the regulator now. They chose to launch anyway. That's like a home builder building a bunch of houses and then asking you to retroactively change the fire code to say that they're safe. That's not how it works. And in fact, I'm shocked that Uber today simultaneously sent a note to their supporters saying, tell them to pass it today, while sending us a note saying, please delay it for 4 or 5 months because we're not ready yet. So they can't talk out of both sides of their mouth. The point is that yes, Calgarians need good choices. Yes, we want to be open to new technology, but you gotta stay safe, and there's no way we are allowing cars that don't have proper insurance on the road.
What does that mean then? Does that mean you vote today? No, or what does that mean?
No, I mean the regulatory environment that we're being asked to look at today is one under which Uber has operated very happily in many, many jurisdictions. It's the right thing to do. It's the right environment. I'm just surprised that Uber themselves seem to, on the one hand, ask for a regulatory environment, on the other hand, ask for a delay, and on the third hand, because they seem to have 3 of them, say that council is somehow stopping them from doing what they want to do, which is not true at all.
What is the time frame?
Well, what's being brought to council today is the parameters for a regulatory environment. Let's just say what that is. You got to have a proper driver's license. You got to have proper insurance. You got to have a vehicle safety check. You got to have your car checked. These are pretty legitimate, common sense things that I don't think anyone would agree with. So if we get that environment in place, we can pass that bylaw quite quickly, probably as early as next month. We do have to work out what the license fee is and a few things like that. But the real issue is that insurance product is awaiting regulatory approval from the province. Hopefully that will come quickly.
Are you talking commercial insurance?
I'm talking about a new kind of insurance that has worked very well in other jurisdictions, which is something in between your personal insurance, which is invalid if you open the Uber app as a driver, and full-on commercial insurance that, a actual full-time licensed taxi would have. And these things exist in lots of different environments in New York and in California, for example. Drivers have to have the insurance, they have to have a full livery driver's license. I think that's legit. And there's no cap on these things, it's just a matter of people doing the work.
And was it approved that with the helps to solve things maybe?
Well, I think that council's doing its work. Uber has been in conversation with Calgary City Council for nearly 2 years. We had our list of to-dos we were working through. They had their list of to-dos. They chose not to complete their to-dos and launch anyway. So it was a very, very strange way of dealing with the regulator. We're continuing work on our to-dos anyway.
Just have 1 more minute.
I guess I'm obliged to ask you about the gun violence that continues in our city.
I had a very, very good, very long conversation with the police chief on Friday about precisely what is going on. So I'll repeat that Calgary remains as safe as it's been in generations. We have had a blip of violent crime. It's making people nervous, but Calgary remains very, very, very safe. There is not a street in Calgary that anyone should be worried about walking down at any point of the day or night. That said, like all Calgarians, I share the concern that this is really something that's out of hand. And while our level of homicides in 2015 is comparable to 2014, it's still too high. And I have ultimate faith in the Calgary Police Service that they know what they're doing. They're amongst the best in the world at this. They're doing some reorganizations to focus more resources on their guns and gangs work. They know very much exactly what's going on and who's involved and how to stop it. And rest assured that those people who are engaging in these acts of brazen violence with no respect for community safety will be caught and will be punished. It is happening, and it's happening quickly. The noose is tightening.
Has the events that happened in Paris on Friday changed your outlook on acceptance of Syrian refugees into Canada?
We'll be announcing probably sometime this week or next, in conjunction with the provincial and the federal governments, the plan on resettling refugees here. I need to point out that the people who are desperate refugees are fleeing the exact same people who perpetrated the kind of violence that we saw in Paris and in Beirut last week. They're running away from the bad guys. And as such, we need to be able to open our arms to make sure that we can provide safety to these folks who are trying to run away from the very same folks who did Paris and who did Beirut. That said, of course, we need good screening in place. Of course, we need good systems in place to ensure the integration of people when they get here. We're working hard on that with our counterparts at the provincial and federal governments, but mostly with nonprofit organizations and faith organizations here in Calgary.
Thanks,
Brad
everybody.
Wall is
We
saying
need to get
slow
going.
down. Brad Wall saying slow down accepting refugees for now. Your thoughts on that?
I saw Mr. Wall's letter. I thought it was perfectly reasonable, except his conclusion was that the only way to do this is to slow down the process. I would argue the right way to do this is to get the right screening in place. And the number of refugees that are accepted are an outcome of the screening, as opposed to starting with the number.